I recently got rejected from participating in the local Spanish market, and the reason's actually quite interesting. In my rejection letter, they said it was due to my art being more representative of Native American and indigenous art forms rather than Spanish colonial traditions. For the record, I happen to be mostly Spanish with a minority Native American. While I can see that my work is not exclusive to Spanish colonial traditions, I take issue with them describing it as Native American or indigenous instead. I understand why they did, I just disagree. Here's why. There's no such thing as pure, objective art. Everything is inspired by and derived from something else, and Southwest jewelry is no different. For example, what's commonly referred to as Indian jewelry, a term originally intended to appeal to foreigners visiting the West, would not be what it is today if not for Spanish influence. The Navajo didn't know how to work in silver until the Spanish introduced them. They didn't use things like conchos, najas, and squash blossoms until the Spanish introduced them. That's not to say that I think that the Spanish have an exclusive claim to the art form, but that its development is more complicated, and to simply call it Indian jewelry is misleading. In fact, many cultures contributed to the development of Southwest jewelry as we know it today, for better or for worse. If it wasn't for the entrepreneurship of Fred Harvey, a white man responsible for tourism of the West, the craft wouldn't have the cultural impact or reach that it has today. Or what about Hermann Schweitzer, the Jewish trader and collector responsible for commissioning light, mass-produced pieces that were made popular during the railroad years? Being that its history is so broad and complex, not identifying with one exclusive people group, I think a term like Southwest jewelry is a better, more fitting term. And some might say, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is that in 2020, a campaign ensued to cancel me and by many ignorant on the subject. These people didn't know my cultural heritage and it didn't matter to them. They assumed that Native Americans have an exclusive right to an art form they didn't exclusively develop. In their dim-witted, hate-filled messages, they communicated that by merely making this jewelry, I was guilty of cultural appropriation, which amounts to genocide. I'm not kidding. That's what they said. Now, you all know that's stupid. If you want to buy, sell, or make Southwest jewelry, go ahead. You have every right to. The more, the merrier. You've got a supporter in me.